In 1965, the average cost of college tuition was low enough that a student could realistically pay for it with just a part-time job. Today, that same decision can mean tens of thousands of dollars in debt. So let's ask a simple question. If the price has changed this much, why do we still treat college like it's automatically worth it? The problem isn't that people ask whether or not they should go to college. The problem is how they ask it. There are countless reasons as to why someone would or would not go to college. They could want the experience, they could want to get out of their hometown, learn more about a topic they're passionate about, or maybe they just simply don't know what else to do. All of these are personal factors, and while they may influence which college someone chooses, they don't answer the more fundamental question: whether college itself is worth attending in the first place. These personal factors don't change the underlying structure of the decision. College still requires upfront capital, 2 to 4 years of your time, and promises a future return. That's not a moral question, that's the basis of an investment. Like any investment, its value depends entirely on the cost, the risk, and the expected return. And every investment starts with the same question: what does it cost? Not all college decisions carry the same financial weight. Graduating with little or no debt gives you flexibility. Graduating with large amounts of debt limits your flexibility, requiring you to find stable income quickly just to break even. The higher the cost, the less room there is for error. Two people can earn the exact same degree, but the one who paid less took on less risk to get there. This alone changes whether the investment makes sense, because lower upfront costs reduces the pressure on future outcomes. On the contrary, a higher upfront cost would increase the pressure. The investment itself hasn't changed, but the margin for error has. The second variable is what you're actually buying. While all bachelor's degrees have the same price at a given college, the value they provide varies drastically. Some degrees are directly tied to specific careers. Fields like engineering, accounting, and nursing have clear labor demand and defined career paths. The degree isn't optional, but required. In those cases, college acts as a gateway, but other degrees don't have the same direct connection to specific jobs. In those cases, the degree becomes more of a signal rather than a guarantee. In other words, the investment becomes less predictable. College tends to work best when the degree connects to a labor market that explicitly values it. Without that connection, the outcome becomes less certain. The less certainty, the riskier the investment. The third variable is timing. Most people treat college as something you do immediately after high school, full-time with no interruptions. But that structure isn't the only option. Lower cost pathways exist. Community college, working while attending school, or delaying enrollment entirely until there's a clear reason to go. Changing the structure changes the risk, because the decision isn't just whether or not to go to college, it's also how and when you do it. Another part of college structure is the time put into it. 4 years spent in school is 4 years not spent building income, experience, or testing other pathways. That doesn't make college a mistake, but it does mean that timing of the decision affects its return. This is because the question isn't just whether college itself is worth it, it's whether it's worth it right now. The real risk isn't college itself. The real risk is treating it like a default decision instead of an investment into yourself. Investments carry uncertainty, requiring upfront cost and relying on future outcomes that aren't guaranteed. College can increase income, stability, and future opportunity, but those outcomes depend heavily on the cost of entry, the field of study, and the structures of the decision. Without those aligned, the risk increases. Not because college is a dangerous decision, but because the investment wasn't looked at carefully. Now, the purpose of this breakdown isn't to condemn either of the choices, but to put into perspective how the value depends entirely on the conditions surrounding the decision: the cost, the degree, and the structure. When those align, college can be a strong investment, but when they don't, the outcome becomes far less certain. The difference isn't the idea of college itself, it's how the decision is made.